Okay, hello guys. This is Rohin, just another tech enthusiast, and yeah, I'm back today showing you guys my desktop environment, like the whole setup, and it's kind of like a really minimal setup, like uh, like really clean and simple and minimal, just the way I like. And I have explored a lot of stuff, like I have explored so many distros when it comes to Linux. Like I use Ubuntu, I use Mint, I use Arch, I use all those Arch-based Linux like EndeavourOS, Manjaro, uh, then uh, CatchyOS. So all of those stuff that I used, like made me realize one thing that I'm someone who actually prefers like really a minimal setup. I don't need all those like fancy graphics, like Hyperland provides, or you can actually do with Hyperland. Of course, like there's host option that you don't choose that, but yeah, like animated like stuff, waifu, animated pipe, aesthetic background, like neon light and stuff. So I had tried everything. But then I realized, okay, I need a system that is like not that fancy, not that fancy, but like I can do work with it. Like I can actually do stuff with it, and it will feel natural and it's still beautiful. Like it's still not like look ugly or something. So that's when I realized, like I used Hyperland for 6 months and it was enjoyable. I made my own rice as well. But then, I realized, okay, so uh, I'm not actually, uh, I don't actually want to use Hyperland anymore. I need a Windows Manager that is like super minimal, and that's why I actually searched that like which is the minimal Windows Manager that exists. So I got to know about GWM. DWM is like basically a Windows manager that is like written with um yeah, it is written by on C. So the whole source code is like C. And yeah, like that's the thing. Uh it's just like around 1,000 line of code, and that's it. Like that's the whole source code, and I compile it in my system, and that's it. So, this is kind of, you can see, like, this is the default. I actually, like, made it, I actually tweaked it a little, not that much, but it's still kind of like the default DWM. Default DWM is the best, by the way. I just tweaked it to my own liking, but it's still kind of, you can see there's like nine workspaces, and I can switch them with like Windows, Windows, and press the number of the workspaces. Like Windows key, I'm not sure the Windows. Sorry about that. Like it's kind of like the super key. So yeah, super plus like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I can switch like that. So that's the thing of like about workspace and stuff, and about tiling Windows Manager. There's this is also the default tiling Windows Manager DWM has. So, one layout. If I wanted like the Hyperland type of tiling, I can actually even like code that myself, but I really don't need it. Windows Manager are cool, but uh, like in a workspace on average, there's like I am actually using tiling window at most like three. I'm not even like using fourth one or stuff like that. So maybe I'm doing work in this here, like some work here, like maybe my editor, code editor, and then I wanted to open another terminal to test some commands or something like that. I mean, of course I can open terminal in my editor, but like suppose like I had to open another terminal, maybe run btop to see system information. So like I would like just do it here. Sorry, so so that's the thing. Like I am not actually opening more than like three dialing like three windows to begin with, right? So I don't need like hyperlinks like magical auto like infinity workspace. I mean I can still do infinity here, but like that will just like be only the single layout, like like one here and the rest is here, like in um sorted like one after another horizontally. So but I don't need that, right? So that's the thing. Also, this is the terminal I use, like Kitty, the famous terminal. And yeah, like any window I can close with super plus Q, and then I can open the terminal again with like super plus enter or return, whatever. So um I actually wanted to like I wanted a functionality to maximize or minimize my terminal. So I actually wanted to create a shortcut for that, but I actually preferred more simple way, the way I actually know. So I created a bash script about like increasing the terminal size, and then I just like made a alias for it with kzoom. So like kzoom plus with like maximize the terminal, uh like increase the font size by one, and minimizing it with like decrease the font size by one. So yeah, this is how it works. And I mean, yeah, it kind of looks artificial, I know, but this is the way I like it. So, I'm happy with it. And of course, the application menu is the menu. I don't actually prefer like those animated Rofi or like Ofi or whatever like I used to use when I was in Hyperland, but not anymore. So yeah, I mean this is completely fine. This is like this is like my way of doing things. Also I use when I'm coding, I use Neovim. This is the setup I actually like made. Like this is the like my Neovim setup. I actually coded it with Lua and made the whole like setup using like all those necessary plugins and stuff. So I'll actually make another video on it about engine, like how I actually made it and what functionalities it provides and why you should actually use this setup. I have it in my GitHub, but I'll share it later. So I actually use NVim with TMAS, so terminal multiplexer. We all love it, and yeah, like I can actually split my terminal, even like create new one, like I'm using the default schema, so nothing new here, nothing fancy. So yeah, that's the thing about the terminal I use. Okay, so that's about terminal, right? But there's like other functionalities, like some other useful tools I have. So of course, like there's new fetch, necessary tools to see stuff. There's PPI to see system information. Um, and there's like file manager. I'm using LF. LF is like a good file manager because it's a terminal file manager first of all, and then another thing is like it's written in Go, which I know. Like I'm a Go developer, so that's a good thing about it. There's also Ranger by the way, but I don't use it, but you can always like use it like. And yeah, I mean the same. It provides kind of like the same functionality as LF, but that's why I don't need it. Anyway, so aside from this, what do I do in my system? Like, I of course, and this is like I showed you my editor and like the coding environment. I use Tmax plus NeoVim. But what else? So I have all those necessary tools like Python, then like Rust, then Go. So I have installed all of those tools and stuff. And for database, I used to use like Terminal, but like PSQL, suppose. Uh, okay. Yeah, I have to open it. Mentioning a server, but I actually made a like installed a client which I like, which is dbeaver, and it is also cool. So yeah, this is like dbeaver. Okay, I'm not actually like my Postgres SQL is not running actually, so this is actually giving me error. That's why. But I mean, this is cool, right? So dbeaver works here, and I can actually okay, let's just quit it. So for database, I mostly use PostgreSQL. Um, this is like the development setup, all I'm talking about, right? I have Docker installed, so I do like deployment stuff and containerization with Docker. And let's talk about something else, like how do I like watch videos or medias, right? So I have MPV installed. So MPV is like a media player which can play every kind of media like audio, videos, and other like GIF and stuff. So this is also like good tools. Like let me show you guys an example. Like first of all, before actually showing you the MPV one, let me show you like any client. Like this is like the one I use to watch animes. Um, so this is another tools, but let's talk about that later. So yeah, let me show you guys an example. Mm, but there's like this thing, like I don't actually keep any videos or photos in my system. Like that's in a separated portable SSD, just to keep my system like distraction free, or like um, just to keep space available always. Although I have enough space, like with these tools, I can see how many spaces I have, and how many disk spaces I used. So that's another thing. And there's some other terminal tools like that is really helpful. Like aside from those, like yeah, of course, I saw show most of it, like what I use. But there's some other stuff, I guess. Maybe I'm forgetting here. But yeah, like MVP is a good thing. Like let me find a video first just to play. Okay, so I don't know what this video is about. Um, but let's try playing. I'll just like edit it. Of course, although like editing videos is like kind of pain in the ass, but yeah. Okay, so this is
Okay,
like
hello
an
guys. This is
another wait, what? Okay, so this is like in just another. This is like this video I'm recording right now. It's not completed yet, but I can see it for some reason. I don't know. I don't know how. Yeah, like this is the date of today. Anyway, so you get the idea. Also, you can see, as you can see, I don't have any icon or like what do you say, like um I forgot the term. I guess it's like tray. Yes, tray icons. So I don't have any tray icons here. And as you can see, like no Wi-Fi icon, no time, or like nothing here. It's like all clean. and showing you the current workspace's name. So I can see my time in terminal, right? Also, I can see time in my browser as well. So that's why I figured out, okay, I don't need it. I'll stick with the default. And Wi-Fi, I can actually I have an MCLI, so I can actually connect with that. Also, Bluetooth, I'm already connected to a Bluetooth headset, so I can just do it in with Bluetooth CTL. So I actually really use that online for most of the cases. I know it's kind of crazy, using uh, terminal for this little stuff, but that's what I do. Even for brightness, yeah, I just use brightness CTL. Like that's how it is with me, and I'm comfortable with, to be honest. I don't like using my mouse that much, so I don't have to click and stuff and set my brightness, with scrolling the mouse bar or mouse wheel. So yeah, that's okay with me. And by the way, for browser, I use Florp, which is a really good browser, a minimal browser. There's workspaces you can set here. You can create new workspaces if you want. Also remove the workspaces if you want as well. So like Florp is really cool, and as you can see, there's a minimal blur effect on the background, and this is for every Windows. So uh, I made with Pywell, um, and this whole minimal uh, minimal rise. I mean, mostly this is default DWM, but uh, some stuff that I tweaked, I actually have that in my GitHub. So this is totally cool with me. And for gaming, by the way, I know so many people like to play games and stuff in their system, and so do I. And for gaming, I actually use Proton, Wine, and also the default native Linux gaming features. And I have installed a driver and stuff, which is really cool. Like all those updated driver I have in my PCs, and yeah, nothing fancy, nothing that much to show around, to be honest. Suppose I have cover as well. Also all those fancy symmetrics. Wait, I do have symmetrics, right? Yeah. So all this fancy terminal stuff, terminal wizardry stuff. So I have all of those. And I mean, those are in my philosophy, those are kind of distraction because whenever I open my system now, I'm directly focusing on my work. Just nothing, just nothing at all. And when I need everything, something, I actually have that. I know how to do that, right? Like nothing about this system is there's no limitation of it. That's what I would say. Yeah, some way of doing things might be seem complex to some people, but this is the system I'm totally comfortable with and totally productive with. I can show you my system information with how much RAM it is consuming. So at this point, it is consuming 4.10 GB, which is a good amount because right now there's so many tabs open. Mostly browser is uh, eating all those RAMs, as you can see here. Also, OBS is also using much RAM. Um, but yeah, this is it. This is a minimal setup I'm comfortable with. And also, I think I'm missing something. So I have actually showed you guys my browser. Okay, so containerization and virtualization. So I showed you guys, I use Docker for containerization and deployment and stuff. And I also have virtual machine install Patch Manager. I use Patch Manager for that. So here you guys can see. Um, and let's actually open one just to show you how it works. uh, efficiently. So yeah, I have started one. And yeah, like let's remove this to the workspace too. Okay. So this is like Ubuntu PM, Ubuntu LTS 24.04, like the current one. I guess I don't use Ubuntu that much anymore. I mean, in my office I have to use Ubuntu, but like, I don't like it that much because like as you can guess from my current setup, I don't like bloated stuff. Anyway, I think it started. Right, it's like it seems like it like stopped in the midway or something happened in my system. No, everything is good. Okay, then why it stopped? Let's see the system information. Okay, it's using two GB, but like I have so many RAM available. The CPU is also not spiking. Okay, yeah. I mean, it just like kind of got stuck for a while, I guess, for a second there. Anyway, so let's just like log in here. I hope that I remember the password. Okay, I think this is right. Let's try again. So yeah, here is it. Here is it. Okay, so this is Ubuntu inside my Arch Linux with DWM. And as you can see, like this is all default and stuff. There's nothing. I use it for mostly for like sometimes for experiments and stuff. Or like I contribute to open source project and I have my own projects as well. So sometimes I need to actually uh, like show that I can actually clone it and make it work here with Docker because some of my teammates, most of my teammates use Ubuntu, so and Ubuntu is like common. So I actually whenever I making sometimes tutorials I do in it in the VM. So yeah, that's the use case actually. There's nothing else. Anyway, as you can see, I also have like other stuff like Windows 10, Windows 11 VM as well. So you can actually do like everything in this system. Like there's no downside. As a side event. Also, this is my setup for the last 5 months or 4 months, I guess. Yeah, 4 months, and it hasn't been broken once. Like I have done a lot of experiments, but if you know about your system won't break that easily. You know, and Arch has been matured so much in this past years, so it is now like a really useful and developer friendly um, distro, I would say. Anyway, enough chit chat. I mean, I just wanted to showcase you, showcase my setup, my environment and all. Maybe there's so many stuff I haven't been shown yet, but we'll actually see them in the later videos. I think this video is already like already been like a little bit long. Yeah. So yeah, have a nice day. Peace out.